Well, welcome everybody. It is just on 4 o'clock, and the time for today is going to be, or today's episode, which is episode number 90, everybody, 16th of July, 2026. Great to see so many on board today. Little thumbs up if we can, just to make sure that Dr. Zoo can hear more than one person. That's what counts. Today we're going to start out a little bit different, people. Today we're going to dedicate today's show to Dick Aronson. We got the tragic news today. Dick passed away this morning, and just try and regroup here, people. Yep, Dick Aronson, and a warrior, a true warrior. Yeah, thanks for being on board there. So look, it was sudden. Dick has been with the organisation well over 25 years. Ezybonds, SplitChain, Zucoins, and unbelievable warrior. We send out our condolences today to Deb and the family, and it's a bit hard to believe, actually. But anyway, while I regroup, just think about Dick. He loved AB, one of the great supporters of alligator blood, which is huge. And before I'm going to regroup. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this for Deb and wish her our sincerest and deepest sympathies. Can't believe it, actually. Anyway, this is for you, Dick. Well, there we go, Dick. That's for you. I think I've just picked up the pieces there. There's no doubt, people, that for those that know Dick Aronson, he would be already spinning his wheels, cooling his jets up there, trying to market and do as much as humanly possible for all those that are floating around in heaven, and getting prepared for, making sure we can get things out and about, even though he's with another group of people. An extraordinary guy, unbelievable stuff, never flinched during the journey. And to Deb and the family, as I said earlier, God, I don't know how you get through this today, for even down the road. And I can still see Dick there wandering around with the caravan, and the journey that he had with Jeff and Robin up north, unbelievable. But oh man, it's pretty fragile people. So all it's going to do is make us even more determined than ever to get on those Kaibong drinks, the Kaibong cocktails there, and cheer Dick on, because he would have been right in the thick of it, wanting to celebrate. Well past $1,000 a coin. He wasn't interested in cheap shots at cheap prices, Dick. He was in for the long haul, as you know. And some of the things that he did over the journey to help the group, help you guys as well. You don't realise there's some people behind the scenes that are beavering away, and no dramas in terms of some of the things that he did. So look, I'm going to get distracted now and talk about what we're here to talk about, and that is what's the latest news, what we're up to, and what I had planned. Firstly, at 10:38 a.m. this morning, people, Dr. Zoo got an email, and a bit nervous actually, because it had official on the top, and it was from AUSTRAC. So it was quite a moment. I was on the phone to a great friend of our community, and said I'm too scared to open it. But anyway, open we did, and thank goodness it wasn't a notice seeking information officially in terms of any requirements. It was just a standard plain old email that said that they're vetting and going through our application, and just wanted me to address a couple of expansion questions from questions 5 to 8, which were really just not a lot, really. Took about 5 seconds to respond. So there's no extension in the sense of an official notification as required, which would extend the 90 days. It was just a quick email from a lady called Eleanor, actually, and that was all that she was suggesting there, that if I could get a quick response back on those points from 5 to 8, then away we go again. So I have asked in the response email, I have provided the information, and I have asked in the email if she's got any updates as to how we sit in timelines and things, but she's definitely in the vetting division, and it's been looked at, and that's a big plus. So we'll take the positive out of that today, and that's going to be, we keep nudging ourselves a bit closer and closer on that one. Now, in terms of the team is going really, really good. Exceptional, actually. The website of information and all the rest of it from zucoins.com, looking magnificent. That's pretty well done. So, funnily enough, we're getting a truckload of inquiries coming through. They're coming at us all over the shop, from LinkedIn, Facebook. Don't forget your Fridays. That's Friday Facebooks. That's if you're not keen to listen to a lot of the conversations and things. But yes, that's been a big one. That's had a huge traffic on that front. Instagram as well. So that's been fantastic. So a lot of those good things have been tidied up on those loose ends. The team now, as I said, Robert, he's pumped and primed. He's busy on quantum computing and the last little bits on his long caching, which will assist us down the road. And the meetings with Riley and the team, the new website updates and upgrades for Zutopia look spectacular. It's quite schmick, actually. It really is going to drag in fantastic for traders, ease of trading, people using it. The testers, I'm going to send out a cheerio, because you guys and girls, unbelievable in the things that you tweak and find, and it's given us an opportunity to use the developers. We've got a great gun designer that's been working in Portugal. He's Vovo. We send out a cheerio to you, mate. That's been unbelievable what you're putting together. And through Riley and Matt, the others, even the tweaks in the content for the app. So, you know, we're excited about how that's going to look and feel as we turn that straight on, and it will be turned straight on. I'm really hoping that the next emails we get, or email from AUSTRAC, is going to be a ripper that just comes in and says, "Look, here we are." Boom shakalaka. Now, Dick Aronson was well aware of. He loved horses, loved race horses as well. As I said, a massive supporter of our group. Unbelievable. I just can't believe it. Like, you know, you talk to someone a week ago, and boom, it's all pretty fickle. But there's no doubt Dick wanted us to keep going with things, and we'll get the results there that his family can enjoy and get into. As little as compensation as that is, I'd rather Dick having him around. And but anyway, that sort of addresses the earlier updates on that front in relation to that, peoples. Which is now, some of you may have met Dick at the conventions as well. He was front and center with Deb. They love the connectivity with people and being part of a community journey, which is what it was. And he never got a bad word out of Dick. It was extraordinary. Extraordinary. So that's what keeps Dr. Zoo going. That sort of mindset, the old alligator blood, never give up, right till the end. Unbelievable. Well, lots of things been happening in the general crypto space. Although Dr. Zoo has found it fascinating on the compliance fronts, has been very interesting. People contacting Dr. Zoo about the AML. As you know, we've got a slot into the big picture scene for how the regulators want to work and operate, and that makes it simple and easy for us with Zutopia. Hopefully that's the outcome, because of the way the system is designed and works, and that box gets ticked big time. We've got some people coming out of all cracks and corners around the world. Actually, we've got a Z8 Digital's going to share with you some stuff down the road. Those that are keen on wealth protection structuring. That's not advice that they'll be giving, but certainly there's some more to come on that later with the people that are now interested in what they call nomad wealth and protection. So you're going to see a lot more of that happening as well. And that really is taken to a new level because there's an awakening happening. There's an awakening of the power of what you guys have stuck in there, like Dick, and it's unbelievable. The combo that we have, the firepower, as I've talked in the past with SplitChain, Zucoins, and Zucas will be the unsung hero that I know will generate that firepower of merchant connectivity. And interestingly enough, you can see how important it is, everybody, the ability to have a product that you know you've got the upside that's tantalizingly close because you can deliver that mass marketing. Once you get derailed from that, it becomes a real nightmare. But look, just in recent times, in fact, it was brought to Dr. Zoo's attention earlier in the week, our great partners in Stripe, which, as you know, are a core plank in the way we have the capacity for the trading on Zutopia, fiat to fiat. They've come out of the blocks and have launched a $53 billion takeover for PayPal. Now, I'm not quite sure the strategic value in that because PayPal has a lot of inherent problems. And but look, to our advantage, as time goes on, you'll find that gobbling up that sort of organizational structure is all about database and database acquisition. So Stripe now will get access to the consumer base of the processing capabilities, which PayPal does have, versus the Stripe using the merchant side of the ledger, which is of great interest to us down the road. Now, just on that, our team in Zutopia have been experimenting and succeeded with some really nice, sweet direct payments for online merchants. A little bit of code to process directly from a wallet into a merchant online, and the automation of that and the operation of that will pretty well go live shortly with Z8 Digital. We did a bit of a play there with the way Z8 works for a premium service, and it costs 1 Zucoin, and that 1 Zucoin will be welcome Queensland, welcome everybody. I didn't say that earlier today, but certainly love, and I love the people coming on deck here from particularly Mekong. Well done, William. You look after yourself up there too, big fella. You've got a lot on your plate with the animal sanctuary and the elephants that you're doing and the crowd up there. So get those speakers going. Hopefully the English picks up a lot better, even though Dr. Zoo is not an expert in English. But there you go. Now, the thing about Stripe and a PayPal combo is the price. If you're prepared to pay that sort of money for the capacity for database acquisition, just think about how powerful it is to come in basically with a clean sheet of paper and bring on board, because everything that they do at this structural level for the payment industry is all about fees. And that is a critical part where the testing that we're doing for both retail, bricks and mortar, QR code plus online is where that connectivity allows us to have the firepower to bring on potentially millions of merchants and give you accessibility for direct trading, if you like, using your Zucoins, and that's outside of Zutopia. But even better than that is the part of the Zoo Vision, which the articles that Dr. Zoo has published is all about then leading into Zucas, because we're taking on the giants in terms of the marketing prospects because of augmented reality and geomapping and the significance of that data. That data is huge. So that's, there's some big things there on that front. Now, Dr. Zoo has processed a transaction with Z8 Digital. Z8 Digital is all about you wanting information. You will get information because it's got a database bank of over 7 years of significant information that should answer nearly all your questions across the board. We had a funny one the other day with a Zucoin holder concerned about some transactions and how they got lost. And look, it's worth mentioning that if you're going to play with a lot of wallets, be very, very careful the way in which you go about that, because it can be dangerous. Now, in this instance, this particular person lost only 2 Zucoins. When we say lost, they're still on the chain. You can see them. You can go and look it up on the myzucoins.org site, which has got the SplitChain Explorer functionality. As long as you've got a wallet address, you can do that. So the coins aren't lost per se. It's just they're never going to be accessible because the wallet has gone with the backup. So the outcome of this, if you're going to have coins and you want to look at them and you get a great fuzzy feeling about it because they're on your phone, which is dangerous in itself, make sure you back up. As soon as you back up that first wallet, make sure you know where that backup is. If it's in files, if it's in iCloud, if it's on a USB, that you can quite readily, easily see it by checking your public wallet address, and that's the button at the bottom, which is the receive, and you can then search that, and should be stored where you've backed it up. Now, if you're going to add another wallet, which is what happened here, because you wanted to transfer some coins from wallet A to wallet B, which is fine. The notifications work perfectly and all the rest of it. Make sure you back the second one up as well, because what happened is this particular person then uploaded a third wallet and restored the third wallet without considering the backup of the second wallet. Now, at the end of the day, it overrode the data that was in the second wallet, which meant that all of the private keys and history had vaporized. Well, vaporized in terms of the local content of history that's on the phone, but not on the split chain. And then someone did a transfer of a small fraction, and of course, that fraction could be found in the third wallet, and there was concern that the system wasn't working because he couldn't see the other 2 transactions. Now, it's a complicated way of saying, don't get carried away with restoring wallets while you've got others there, because you could override it, and then you worry about it because you didn't back up the first wallet or the second wallet or the fourth wallet or whatever wallet you've got. Makes it very difficult. Now, interestingly, of course, they were able to track the transfer, and they could confirm that the 2 coins are still sitting on SplitChain, but they are not accessible by anybody by any stretch, because nobody has the backup and nobody has the private key, and it's gone down the toilet. Now, the good news for all of us is that that's 2 less coins now we have to worry about coming onto trading. They're gone. Absolutely done and dusted. Not even Quantum would save the day on that, most likely, because it's just not going to happen. So now there's a question here which is relevant. Very good indeed. Mysterious Legend is saying, so a backup will only work going back into the wallet it came from. No, that's not. That's the dangerous part. You can, for example, right now, if you've got a wallet on your phone, let's just talk about one wallet, and you back it up, that is backup sitting in your folders, and then you delete that wallet off your phone, not the backup, but you delete the wallet. You know how you do that. If it's on the home screen and you press it down and you delete it, and then you go and get another new wallet with nothing in it, you will be able to restore that information from the backup back onto that new wallet. So it doesn't matter about the restoring part, doesn't care where it gets restored to, as long as there's a wallet on your phone. The trouble is, if you've got multiple backups and you're not sure what you're backing up, you could restore a wallet that might have less coins in it to a wallet that you thought you're backing up with lots of coins, and you will vaporize them if they don't have a backup as well. It's just good management to try and stick to the program. And even it was raised the other day too, everybody, that if you're going to trade on Zutopia, and it's going to run at 1,000,000 miles an hour because it's very quick. It's very quick. You haven't got time to think. Zutopia is not like it was in the soft launch. where you had the 90-second clocks and things. It's very quick and potentially very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But the good thing about it is that if you've got coins you want to trade, let's say you've got 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, but you've got more coins on another wallet, transfer the balance, some coins to a new wallet that you want to trade with. Make sure you've backed up the first wallet. It's got all the coins. Keep that off your phone and just keep the new wallet, which has got coins in it you want to trade. So whatever number you have in there, which has a lesser sum, and then play with that, and then that'll be your trading wallet. All right. So don't go out there if you've got the like a couple of our guys up north are accumulating coins all over the shop, and you've got 1 million coins, and you think this is a great idea to have 1 million coins in a wallet and start trading, because you're exposing yourself to risk that you don't necessarily need to take. In other words, reduce that down, put the coins in a new, you can get a new wallet anytime you like, 24 hours a day, and put number of coins onto that wallet that you want to, be exposed to Zutopia. And in fact, there's a lot of people in the recent days, you would see some big numbers that have been turned over that are moving coins around now to their super funds and tax planning, and that's all happening. I can categorically state again, I think there's a big 7 million one there the other day. That is not Dr. Zoo. We've affectionately treating that wallet as Jatoshi. So Jatoshi, if you're out there, good luck to you on your super funds and what you're doing, because those transactions are quite significant. And you'll be gunning down the great, Jeff Bezos to start with, and then you can move on if we get the prices where we think we can go. You'll be a very seriously rich person, or the family, or whoever, in that regard. So be careful with that. But even now, if you've got coins and you don't want to expose, because that's the purpose of the public ledger, is that at least in the split chain's case, it only reveals the last transaction and balance. And if you're a bit nervous about people seeing what number of coins you've got, then it's open for you to create a new wallet, transfer a smaller sum of coins, and use that as your transaction engine, and that'll be the one that'll be on the split chain effectively to see the balance, because other people can see the balance of a public wallet with where coins are coming from. So just you'll get a bit street smart with all this down the road, but that's the amazing flexibility between the Zucoin to Zucoin wallet versus the trading capacity with what is happening with Zutopia. Now that'll even get more confusing, people, because on the split chain, as it's recording, it could end up with literally billions of transactions that are publicly accessible for verification. Once we start delving into this mass marketing program with dealing with merchants, etc., because if Zukaz is on fire and it's throttling up truckloads of microtransactions or Zoo tokens, then each and every one of those becomes a wallet that is visible for the last transaction. So you could actually see, for example, if you know the public wallet address, you might actually see some wallet that you've dealt with that turns out their last transaction is buying a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes, because that could be the last transaction. You won't know that the ownership of that wallet, but you'll certainly know that that particular merchant could be identifiable by the merchant's wallet address in receiving those payments, as you would see. But it's all completely 100% verifiable, transaction secure, and it marries in with the global requirements of AML KYC, which is perfect. Now, I'm going to check a few more questions here while we're on a roll. Oh, it's distracting Dr. Zoo's brain at the moment, which is good. Yes, Rocket Man, that's spot on. Back up your new wallet before transferring any coins. There's some good advice that's coming through there, and a lot of the community is supporting each other on this too now. There's, as I said, if you want to go to z8digital.com, these sort of questions will be answered by Z8 Digital automatically. And the other feature, I'm going to remind you again, it works absolutely brilliantly, is that if you pay Z8 Digital one Zucoin and book a time in to have a chat. All of a sudden, Z8 is our test case for automation of being able to make a payment online without all the headaches, which is perfect because it's instant notifications. It works a treat. You'll see that shortly. There is the member function within there. Remember, again, you don't need to put in any personal data or information. It's just the way in which Z8 Digital, similar to Zutopia, verifies your wallet and does a signature test against the chain, and you're able to log in anytime you like as long as you've got that wallet connected. That is your Zucoin wallet. With that functionality, you can then export. There's an export functions in your settings that you can see in each Zucoin wallet. If you go to the settings button at the top, little cog, and you'll see it says export, and you can export that to a CSV file. Now, when you export to a CSV file, it looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics, but Z8 Digital has a function where on your phone, not on their database, not taking any information from you, you can press a couple of clicks and you get a near instant delivery of a spreadsheet that looks magnificent. It'll give you the whole flows of events and what's going on. In fact, that's what one of the functions we used to test the flows and the whereabouts of those 2 coins that I talked about earlier that went missing, and it worked a treat. So, you can certainly get a logging system of all your transactions. But that's on your own phone. It's not on SplitChain. SplitChain has been deliberately, specifically designed to be a workhorse. It's just an engine that caches this transaction to provide the truth that no one's ripping off the system, that no one has coins they shouldn't have, and that they're all real. And it is unbelievably powerful the way that mechanism is working. In fact, I was talking to another coin holder today because there's big thought bubbles coming out left, right, and center, and suddenly they realise that the functionality in the code that's already on myzucoins.org that allows any merchant or any business to use people's wallets as the means of accessing or logging in without taking in private information and jeopardizing or putting that information at jeopardy. The beautiful thing is that can be expanded literally to have any merchant on the planet could suddenly become a part of the process of SplitChain for verification. Now, what am I talking about? We're talking about that you can imagine how many passcodes you've got now. All of us have got dozens of passcodes, and you forget the codes, and it's a nightmare. What you could end up doing is having a single Zucoin wallet, and in there becomes all these little mini app type things, and each one pops up with the website that you're heading to, whether it's CommBank or one of the websites or Booper or something else that you got to log into. And a lot of them have 2-factor authentication. You can nearly kill all that because you don't need personal data for accessibility. You just use your wallet. It'll test it against the SplitChain that's real, and that will allow that particular wallet dedicated to you because it's your private key for accessibility to any website on the planet. Now, you could end up with millions of websites you look at that have logins, and you would never have provided a single bit of data whatsoever of your person in terms of passports, ID, all that sort of stuff that's been collected. And in fact, this idea spun out to another interesting concept which Dr. Zhu hadn't thought of. So, for example, we talk about the great man, one of Dr. Zhu's favourite in history, Anthony Albanese, Albo, and our great illustrious Prime Minister. He's now running around like a chook with no head, worrying about AI. In fact, if Dr. Zhu, getting on a real positive note here, if Dr. Zhu was Albo, he would be worried about AI because the intelligence level is so great that AI would be running the country before Albo realised that the alarm clock had gone off in the morning to get out of bed. But look, that's the sort of scenario. Once you start having people that you worry about are smarter than you should embrace it. Steve Jobs used to always say that the best environment is have others that are smarter than you working for you. You don't need to be Einstein to be worrying about nuclear warheads, but you can get him to create that if that's what you so wish. Now, the beauty of this was if you think about the connectivity and the ability for SplitChain to verify a wallet and a signature which is unique. So it's a unique signature every time, not a problem. Could be trillions of transactions and it's unique every time. That's how we verify transactions in Zutopia. We know that the transaction is 100% conducted between two people, and we know that the payment is going to be conducted on that basis, and that's how the transfer happens. But how about this for an idea? Instead of running around doubling up, now what I'm talking about is AML KYC. Now, whilst Zutopia at this point has to, put in play all of the AML KYC because that's what the law says, Dr. Zu, or this particular Zuconian who come up with this, is ingenious, has said, look, maybe there's only one layer of identification that's required in all of Australia. What do you mean by that? I said, he said, well, look at this. What about if every bank's got to go through this process anyway, that if you've got adults with accounts or bank accounts, and you can have kid accounts as well, and you put the pressure on the bank to do their job, which they're starting to do. Dr. Zu got one the other day, and it was like unbelievable. A little bank got the worst app you could ever think of. I won't say the name of the bank, but it served its purpose. And the information they now require as a result of the new laws was mind-blowing. But let's say they get their act together. They get all of the corporate documentation, they get the password and the driver's license, and they can verify that from bank to government. So there's the first assumption, bank to government, that the boxes are ticked, that they, as in the bank, supposedly can put encryption and protection around that data. Dr. Zu's got some ideas for that as well, but that's for another day. They're called split lock. But one day we'll just issue that out for free and the banks can have it. They won't need encryption. And in fact, split lock with data that's not in transit could actually stump quantum breaking that anyway. But that's for another day. What we're getting at is if the banks were the first line of defence and they took in the information and they got everybody in Australia that with a bank account, whatever age, and they verified the documents completely and they are storing that information and it's in their little cupboards and they say they can protect it, then what you could do is you could have a process that operates exactly the same as the signature test from the wallets, that if you come in from social media, for example, we're worried about under 16-year-olds and all the rest of it, that one of the things that social media companies could be doing, and it could be gaming companies as well, it could be other institutions that are caught up in this mess with the cost compliance, which is huge because you're doing exactly the same layer. Zutopia is doing the same layer as a second round over and above what the bank is doing, but nevertheless, that's how the law works. But you could remove and eliminate all of that process by having a signature test of the body or the company or the social media or whatever it is that we talk about, even Zutopia, and it verifies that wallet address against the bank's system. And the bank can spit back and say, yes, that particular wallet connected to Dr. Zu is confirming the validation of ID and is confirming the age. And there you are. Boom shakalaka. The verification is complete, but the third-party business doesn't need to store any data because it's supposedly done properly by the bank in the first place. And that could be for everything. That could be for everything. So you wouldn't need to spend tens of millions of dollars if you're a gaming company that needs to get money from a person to have a bet. You wouldn't need, as what Dr. Zu talked to this person who's a lawyer, that the law firm needs to collect all this stuff and double up. Now, what happened here was we got one person that's going to do one commercial property transaction, and not only has he had to do KYC AML with the bank, he's now have to do it with the lawyer, he's got to do it with the accountant, and he's got to do it with the real estate. So all of a sudden, 4 businesses are replicating exactly the same process across 4 lines of businesses. And for what? I mean, the lawyer's got to store stuff now. So is the accountant, and so is the realtor. They've got to put that in protection of data. They can't get massive verification themselves that what they're actually receiving is correct. And there needs to be a solution globally. Well, SplitChain's ready to go. SplitChain, through its micro process of fractionalization, can tokenize all that and can put it in such a form that, there you go, the transactions are validated in the person. In other words, it comes back and says, yes, Dr. Zoo is XYZ age, he's been verified by the bank, and you may proceed, sir. That particular business can proceed without all this overcomplication. Now, the funny part about this, an example, is that both the lawyer, well, not just both, but the lawyer, the accountant, and the realtor are all going to on-charge their costs of putting this together for compliance to the consumer. So this poor consumer who just wants to be part of society and life and buying business and creating wealth for people and himself ends up with 3 more layers of fees added to the total transaction cost. It's just nonsense. But we have a solution. Now, on a global scale, that is another massive solution outcome that has a huge tick for Zutopia. It's massive. Which got Dr. Zoo thinking earlier in the week, what about we just play with a few more ideas and tease that out as to how or the ramifications that would have as a new technology and innovation. And on the back of that, Dr. Zoo filed, because he had a bit of time up his sleeve, that by the 23rd of July, you can have your final versions of the submissions for the Stage 2 Australian Financial Review Awards can be filed up until that date or amended. And he did. Dr. Zoo put in 2 addendums, A and B, one related to the ability that's come out of left field that the fractionalization of Zoo tokens can completely change AI in the sense of not AI as the core AI like Albo's concerned about, but what it can do is tokenize the tokens that we touched on, and that can become a global change and innovation unheard of because we're the only product that can fractionalize without the fees and charges. Now, what do we mean by that just quickly? Well, all we're saying is that if you've got data packets, basically, that give you access to using AI for data that you need of input and output to get the appropriate AI responses, then Zucoins or a fraction of a Zucoin could wrap around those data token packets and create a new marketplace for those that if you don't use all that, you can on-sell and let someone else use it because it's all about the bandwidth and the data that you want to use, which is what Albo's running around a bit concerned about because he's worried about all the power and everything else that comes with it. But it maximizes the usage of those, server farms and can either move up or down in terms of how Zucoins can be readily tradable around the world, which is a product that no one else will do. Ethereum won't do it. It can't do it because it's got gas fees and things that kills that concept. Bitcoin certainly won't do it because it's well out of kilter. It hasn't got the scalability and the firepower poor old Satoshi was trying to pull together, and we've talked about that. You will not get it from the other engines like Solana. It will be and that obviously increases database and mass usage because if you've got hundreds of millions of people using AI and needing that sort of token capacity for putting that into the guns, the Anthropics and Claude and OpenAI and Grok, etc., then you've got a distributable marketplace for the retail sector to easily access more or less tokens to play with AI. And I think if you get in your heads, everybody, it's a bit like the old days. One day people were buying what they call spot corn or wheat, and they expected the bags of delivery of corn or wheat to rock up at their businesses. And then next thing someone's said and invented a futures market that said, look, you don't need to have that delivery today. What we can do is create a contract that says, yes, in 6 months' time, subject to production, you can have X bags of wheat or X bags of corn. And that's a contract that wraps itself around the ability for that produce to be delivered down the road. and it may not come from one particular farm. It might come from multitudes of properties. But at the end of the day, if you do exercise that right, you end up with the bags of wheat or bags of corn because you are baking bread or you are making soup or you are doing whatever you want to do with those products. It's a similar concept to this tokenization of tokens. So that was put into the AFR because no one else can do that. It's very innovative. It's out there. It's left field, similar to the concept of personal identification being restricted to institutions that should be mandated with that data. I mean, really, you could even go one step further if you really wanted to. I mean, the banks shouldn't be putting a drain on the sort of data thing we talk about with consumers. We're all consumers. We all got bank accounts. Shareholders end up paying the cost. Maybe this sort of process could be directly out of the government, which has got the identification we talk about, driver's licenses, passports. If that's in their own database and they're responsible, there's no reason we can't have a system like SplitChain giving that verification and spitting back the answer that says, yes, that's real, and therefore go ahead and proceed. Or if you're underage, you will be underage, and it'll say, no, do not proceed and do not add this account to that social media network, which is half the problem we've got today. So same with gambling. You've got massive sums of money. Same with health products. It's the same with anything that requires some connectivity to government. So the second part, which is addendum B, is also mind-blowingly unique, and it's a bit technical, but if you do a bit of research on DDoS, that's a real problem globally for servers. That's about bots attacking servers and shutting them down. Some bright ass came up with that 20 years ago or more, and they spend a squillion dollars and they bombard the site and it all goes pear-shaped. So the response has been to put in place major companies that specialize in that sector, like Cloudflare, and they try and identify the good and the bad and push out the bad so that the good stuff can go to your website. Now, given the concepts of what we're talking about, it's possible that each server within a node network can put in play a verification into the chain at the beginning of a transaction, which then allows the transaction to go through and anything else gets spat out as a bad actor and doesn't even enter the server. It knocks the hell out of it. So basically, in a sort of an overview of that component, that was added to the innovations that can start to come out. But there are lots of people coming out with some really good stuff now that they're starting to consider the firepower of the humble split chain and the way it was designed and where that leads to with the usage of the wallets. And you can create your own wallets, by the way. You don't have to rely on, you'll see down the road as we get closer and closer to the new Zucas wallet, and it's an all-in-one wallet. It's got the ability to house Zucoins and trade and transact exactly like a Zucoin wallet. It's just badged differently. It allows for the collection and redemption of tokens and the ability to put those on to the Zutopia exchange. And it's an all-in-one single-purpose wallet, so you actually don't need to transfer that out from a Zucas wallet into a Zucoin wallet. The flexibility is there, and you're going to see a lot more people coming up with different designs and all the rest of it. And you don't have to fear it because at the end of the day, the wallets only work if they can be loaded with the information that then is verifiable against a split chain. So if it's not on the split chain, stay away, which was another point we had someone raise about, someone wants to test your wallet with tax office and stuff. There is no testing of any third parties of the Zucoin wallet. It's in your hands. You do not need to get caught up with phony sites or phishing sites or anything like of that nature. You just rest assured that there's nothing to be added or done other than you back it up, and you can test by keeping a copy of your public key, your public wallet address against the split chain to know that it's real and that it is something that others can deal with you as a consequence. Now, a couple of more little bits and pieces here. Yeah, and I think you're all sort of answering your own questions. Looking at this list here now, you can see that the backup process is playing a big role. And Magnificent Newcomer has quite rightly said, yes, a smart man knows who is smarter than him and stays close to the knowledge. That is absolutely spot on. Even AI is having trouble staying close to Robert Novak's knowledge base. There was a bit of a chess game going on the other night, which is intriguing to keep a follow up on the movement between Robert and AI. Very fascinating indeedy. But I was putting my money on Robert to come out of the best on that one. And yeah, look, it is extremely interesting to see this evolution. And so if you don't have the fear of AI, well then, look, there may come a day when they start rounding you up with little robots and pointing guns at your butt and sending you somewhere. But we've seen that in the movies. They go AWOL. That's more than highly likely. But in the meantime, sit back, enjoy, and relax, and allow the AI to do what it's set at the moment to do, and that's to help with that knowledge base. I cannot see for the life of me the panic in the short term when the capacity of AI is so unbelievable. It is amazing, especially with the historical data. Dr. Zoo really delves deep into checking and confirming cases. Dr. Zoo's got a big case coming up next week with the inquiry into alligator blood. Now, just on that, people, that'll be on Wednesday and Thursday of next week in Brisbane, Vegas. Dr. Zoo will be there. He's heading up there Monday. I'm pretty sure I'll be right with timelines to make sure we stick to our timeline at 4 o'clock on Monday with a discussion there on a few things. Certainly, if we get any of those, the timing's pretty good actually, because like today, funnily enough, being this update from AUSTRAC came out today, which is a Dr. Zoo day, and it's that any of that will be passed on, plus any queries. If you've got queries, to those that are new to Dr. Zoo, if you have a Zucoin query, you've now got the opportunity to go to z8digital.com. You can certainly send a note into support at zucoins.com. If you've got problems with anything, always take a screenshot if you can. It's a lot easier for support to understand what you're doing, because a lot of the problems at the moment is that people just aren't thinking. Not a lot of problems, we've only had a few, but if we can dig into that without worrying about whether there's an issue at the back end, it turns out 99% of the time it's to do with the user and what they're doing or not doing as a result of the way they use the phone and things. So that's a big thing. Anything with Zutopia, remember, it's the app hasn't stopped. It's been live with the ability to onboard and do the KYC and compliance. If you want to get used to that, that's been live. It hasn't stopped. It's the transaction part that's been switched off pending AUSTRAC. Although the testers have been working around the clock and doing a marvellous job on picking things up, the way in which that's been accelerated. And there'll be a lot of changes to the interface, by the way, because fantastic, good, positive feedback as to, little things here and there that will make it easier for the rest of us when we do delve into a live trading environment on the app. But if you've got problems with Zutopia, send it in, support at zutopia.com, and you will get a response. It is prioritized, so urgent matters go in first. Don't get too worked up or upset, because we don't have a massive team in relation to what's happening with those sort of queries. Yeah, engage creation. Just quickly, as a recap for this update earlier, Dr. Zoo got an email at 10:38 a.m. and it came from AUSTRAC. A bit nervous about it, because if it's an email that relates to a official request of information under the Act, that can trigger an extension. But it wasn't. It was just a general, nice email with a question about checking the information under the key personnel section of questions 5 to 8, which really took a few minutes to address. That was immediately sent back to AUSTRAC, but I did request from AUSTRAC whether they've got an update as to the current standing and position, given this is being vetted right now. So we're in the thick of things, and the lady there is Eleanor, and we haven't got a response to that yet, but at least it's a show that, on a positive, on a half glass full, they're right into the thick of it, and they come up with those couple of little quick ones, which they would have known as quick. Doesn't need a full-blown letter and response under the Act, which is good. And the other side of it, of course, is that they might have only just started going through it, and they've come up with those questions 5 to 8. But who knows? Good news is that someone is vetting it and looking at it. Could have been worse. They could have come back at this stage after, I think we're into 65 days at the moment, people, from the 12th of May, and they could have come back with some extraordinarily huge queries in relation to the processes and things underneath. We hope that our team has put together a very, very solid package that's got a lot of clarity. It made a lot of sense. It looks brilliant. You can also you can get a request of that registration form if you like. We did put that out in an email. If you want a copy of what we filed with AUSTRAC, that's transparent. You can get hold of that at support@zucoins.com, and Pete will send that to you. So let's leave it with that. I'll finish up now, people, a little bit early today. Thanks for putting up with me earlier in the show. Pretty emotional time there. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that this is episode 90. Big tribute to Dick Aronson. Sad day for Deb and the family. But for those that don't know, you may have met him, you may not. But Dick is an absolute warrior, a war horse, dedicated to the cause, thick and thin. Ezybonds days, 25 odd years, never flinched. Went through the whole processes and journeys as to his contacts, and unbelievable contacts in America that have all filtered back to us, and they'll be very sad and sorry to hear the news about Dick passing away this morning. Came out of nowhere, really. It just shows you, geez, one day you're here, next day you're on a different channel. But anyway, he was a massive supporter of the Never Give Up. In fact, I'm pretty sure from memory now that it was Dick that came up with some of his products that helped the big fella, Alligator Blood. And I know that Alligator Blood sent out a cheerio this morning, and that video is extraordinary coming from the horse. They sort of get a sense of these things. But, yeah, so thanks very much for that. And let's leave on the same note we came in on, and this one's for Dick. So thanks, Dick. You're an absolute incredible guy. And to his partner down there, Andrew Dykes, thinking of you too as well. But here we go, Dick. We'll wrap it up.
Run, run, river, carry me home to the ocean. The river and the road take me home to the ocean. The friends in my lifeline, stars in the sky, leave the lights on.